Now he's done talking about immigration. And Lindsey Graham turns his fire directly on the Justice Department, the House, and Jack Smith. This is where the floor speech goes from policy fight to full-blown institutional showdown. If you're new here and want unfiltered breakdowns of power fights inside Congress, consider subscribing.
Here's what happened to me. I didn't know, but now I know. They literally started asking the phone company about my phone calls professionally and personally during a period of time when I was chairman of the Judiciary Committee by subpoena. No one's ever suggested I broke the law. This actually really bothers me. If I were a Democrat, I would be bothered too. The original Arctic Frost provision was signed off by Leader Schumer and Thune, Senator Thune, and it was seen as to have an ethical problem. Not my intent. I fixed it. I changed the language so it would comply. No enrichment by me or anybody else. But I'm not going to give up on the idea that we should abandon holding Jack Smith accountable. The House, you took the Arctic Frost language of the Senate and took it all out. You could have called me about the 500,000. I'd be glad to work with you. You jammed me. Speaker Johnson, I won't forget this. I got a lot of good friends in the House. If you think I'm going to give up on this, you really don't know me. So how about this idea to my House colleagues? Why don't we expand a private cause of action to the 430 Republican groups that may have been abused by Jack Smith? Nothing to do with me. You took the provision and you gutted it. You took the notification provision out, telling senators or congressmen they're asking for your phone records when you're not under criminal investigation. You should know. Senator Peters and I are this close to finding a bipartisan solution to protect the body in the future. It's Republicans today, it could be Democrats tomorrow. We should all want to be notified as senators in a separate branch of government. The executive branch is looking for our phone records unless we're charged or investigating a crime. That's just common sense. They took that out. There was a stampede in the House. Everybody says, well, it passed unanimously in the House. I could care less. What you did, I think, was wrong. You overreacted. We'll fix the 500,000. Count me in. But you took the notification out. I'm not going to give up on that. I'm demanding a vote on the floor of the United States Senate to an amendment that requires notification to a member of Congress if their phone records are being looked at by the executive branch unless they're under criminal investigation. That's a fishing expedition. We should all be against that. I'm going to demand a vote on the floor that groups, not members of Congress, who may have been harmed by Jack Smith have a private cause of action. Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, the Republican National Committee, the Conservative Partnership Institute, the American First Policy Institute, Save America PAC, My Pillow, 430 Republican-aligned groups and individuals, 197 subpoenas against these groups and what they were doing. To the House, if you expect me to deny these people a chance to have their day in court against Jack Smith, you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm urging the Speaker, give these people and anybody else we find, 430 groups, a chance to hold Jack Smith accountable in court. Nothing to do with me. And if you don't do that, you're giving a pass to what I think is the most abusive investigation maybe in the history of the country, Jack Smith. Within 3 days of President Trump announcing I'm going to run again, they have a special counsel, and within 6 months, they got 90 felony charges in the most liberal districts in the country. I believe it was a coordinated effort to make Trump unelectable. I believe it was lawfare, and I'm going to pursue my beliefs. As to me, what have I done to justify this? He says he can defend what he did to me. Great. Get a good lawyer. See you in court. What did I do wrong? I'm the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. I'm asking questions. When it came to January the 6th, I think I was more the solution than the problem. I took this floor and say, enough. I don't think the election was stolen. There may have been some abuses, but I'm done. And what happens? I find out during all this time, they're looking at me for being involved in a plot to steal the election when I'm the biggest advocate. Enough. You actually used my name to Verizon. See you in court. To the government. Donald Trump is suing the IRS for $10 billion because somebody at the IRS may have leaked his records. You should sue. If our government can't be sued by people, only by people not in it, then people like us are wolves or lambs to the slaughter. If they ever say that because you're in the government you have no rights, that because I'm a senator, my right to use my phone without being interfered with no longer exists, that's insane. I'm going to pursue the damage done to me, hoping it will deter others in the future. I hope after all this is over, people will not be going on fishing expeditions to find out who a senator was calling and why they were calling ever again, unless they believe that senator's committed a crime. Is that too much to ask? This is a defining moment about what's the root cause of the problem on immigration. Senator Schmidt, you're right. People have made mistakes in Minnesota. But the reason we have this chaos is that 12 states are pursuing policies that are insane. I will not enforce federal law because I don't like it. And it's popular. Those days are over. And if a conservative, if you start doing that stuff, we've had clerks of court that would refuse to do laws around marriage. I had a opponent in the 2016 race. I didn't last long. He did better. There's some lady somewhere saying, I'm not going to recognize a certificate of gay marriage because it violates my religious beliefs. And that was her job, right? And one guy said, I think she's right. I will go to jail with her. And I said, we will miss you. I'm not going to jail for that. I've got my own views about gay. But if you're a public official, you don't get to have your own views and be a veto. So on the right, there were a lot of people wanting to make a point. I don't agree with gay marriage. I'm not going to follow the law. Well, you could go to jail too. That's my point. Our political desires have to have some boundaries around here. So I am willing to lift my hold. I'm willing to vote yes. I actually like the products. I'm asking for two simple things. Give me a chance to express myself on what the solution to our problems on immigration are. I'm not asking for an outcome, for a vote. I've got a bill. I want to vote on it. And as to Arctic frost, I want to have a chance to have a vote on a version that would expand private cause of actions for non-members of Congress who may have a claim against Jack Smith. It'd be up to them to prove it. And I want to work with Senator Peters to see if we can find a way to give us notice so that the next administration can't fish for who we're talking to. They got to actually have a real reason. That's all I'm asking. And I think those are reasonable things. I will end where I began. To the appropriations process, it's a miracle we've done it the way we've done it. It's actually what we've been hoping for. Everybody who's been complaining in our conference, let's get back to regular order. Well, when we try to get back to regular order, they won't let us. Let's do less spending. We checked that block. Well, that's not enough. We actually have, Senator Tillis, appropriations below CRs. And like all of a sudden, we're still the bad guys. People have said, let's go to the floor and debate. Well, they won't let us get to the floor. So there are people in our conference, I've just like had it. We got to have a regular, to our leadership. You're my friends. We're playing not to lose. They, on the other side, have the courage of their convictions. They're coming out here with 21 things that we should do to stop abuses in Minneapolis. We're just sitting around looking at each other, worried. Hold the people accountable in ICE who may have broken the law. But stand up for those in the field trying to protect America, and have the courage to say, it's not about Kristi Noem, whether you like her or not. It's not about Stephen Miller, whether you like him or not. It's a deeper, bigger problem. And that's a debate worthy of a great country. So to my Republican colleagues, we need to up our game. I'm not asking you to do things that I think are unachievable. Have a vote. If we lose, we lose. But I am frustrated, and there are a lot of people out there frustrated, that the moment is not being met. I think it's time to reevaluate. To my Democratic friends, you think you got the upper hand? You may for the moment, but what you're asking for is really too much. And part of your problem is you haven't really acknowledged the Laken Rileys of the world and all the people have had their lives upended. That's not balance. You're probably right about ICE reform, but none of you, no protesters, nobody up in arms about this young lady being murdered, and thousands other like her. So in 2 weeks, we're going to have a debate. I'll lift my holes. All I ask is to have a voice in that debate. Down the road, all I ask for is to give access to people I think were harmed by Jack Smith. They'll have to prove their case, nothing to do with me, and protect the body against fishing expeditions. That's what I'm asking. I hope we can get there, and I'll end where I began. It's not about the appropriations process. I actually think we've done a damn good job beyond what I ever expected. Now, the Arctic Frost Amendment, nobody talked to me. I've talked to Senator Collins. We'll get that right. Final thought, I told Senator Thune, what does it matter if a single senator says the entire House is wrong? We should respect that senator and let them have their say. I've been told the White House doesn't like this. And I told the White House last night, I don't care if you like it or not. I literally texted my friends at the White House. If I were you, I would not call me tonight. And they didn't call me. I don't work for the White House. They're my political allies. I'm close to President Trump. I don't work for him. I don't work for the House. I've been in the House. I enjoyed it. I like this better. Why do I like the Senate better? Because one person has a say. So when I heard that, well, the House passed it, I think they made a mistake. I think they went too far. The 500,000 thing, let's fix. But you took it all out because there's a rush to judgment, political stampede. So don't ever come to me ever again and say you're just one voice. That's not a good reason to not let me know what's going on or to deny me a chance to have that voice. To every senator in this body, when they started this stuff a long time ago, 250 years ago, they made you special. There's things that we can do that nobody in the government can do as a single senator. I am not giving that right away to any friend or foe in the White House. I'm not letting the House take that right away from me. I'm not letting the leadership take that right away from me. And you know why you should sort of be in my camp? It could be you tomorrow. Senator Tillis, you've done some things by yourself that you thought were right. We need more of that, not less of that. Senator Collins, you got ripped by the president and took it in a way that I think people in Maine should be proud of. I don't know what was said, but it was reported as pretty tough. And you stood your ground. And I don't agree with you about the vote, but I know with Susan Collins, here's what I get. She'll listen, she'll make her mind up. And if you think you're going to change Susan Collins by a phone call, you really don't know her very well. She does it with a smile, problem solving. There's not enough of it. So this is a time for all of us to reflect. I never do this. I never hold things. I never say, I got to have my vote or else. I'm doing it now because I think it will reset. I think it will reset the debate. I think it would be good for my party to up our game. I think it would be good for the Democrats to have a challenge on their hands.
Graham pivots sharply, and you can feel the room shift. He starts by revealing something he says stunned him. During a period when he was chairman of the Judiciary Committee, federal prosecutors subpoenaed his phone records. Professional, personal, all of it. No accusation, no charge, no crime alleged, just fishing. He says this should bother every senator, Republican or Democrat, because it's not about Lindsey Graham. It's about whether the executive branch can quietly dig through the communications of a co-equal branch of government. Graham explains the original Arctic frost provision was meant to address exactly that. Leadership knew about it. He corrected the language when concerns were raised. No enrichment, no benefit to him, nothing unethical. But then the House stepped in and, in Graham's words, gutted it. They stripped out the notification requirement. They stripped out accountability. And they never called him once. That's when Graham makes it personal. He says to Speaker Johnson directly, I won't forget this, not as a threat, as a promise. Then he broadens the scope. This isn't just about members of Congress. He lists 430 Republican-aligned organizations hit by subpoenas during the Jack Smith investigation. Turning Point USA, the RNC, Conservative Partnership Institute, America First groups, PACs, donors. Hundreds of subpoenas. Graham says those groups deserve their day in court. A private right of action. Let them prove abuse if it happened. Let a judge decide. And he refuses to back down. Within days of President Trump announcing he'd run again, a special counsel is appointed. Within months, 90-plus felony charges filed in the bluest jurisdictions in America. Graham calls it what many Americans already believe it was, lawfare. Then he makes a point that lands hard. If Donald Trump can sue the IRS over leaked records, why should members of Congress or private citizens lose their rights just because they're connected to politics? If government officials can't be sued for abuse, Graham says, then the people become lambs to the slaughter. He says this isn't about protecting politicians. It's about stopping fishing expeditions. No phone records unless there's probable cause. No secret subpoenas. No executive branch spying on legislators. And he warns the Senate, it could be you next. Then Graham ties everything together. Immigration chaos. Sanctuary cities. Executive overreach, prosecutorial abuse, weak leadership afraid to debate real issues. He says this moment demands backbone, not silence. He reminds senators why the Senate exists at all, why one senator can slow everything down, why that power was designed to protect liberty, not convenience. He says he doesn't work for the White House. He doesn't work for the House, even when they're allies, and he's not giving up his voice. Not for leadership, not for political pressure, not for speed. He closes with the terms, simple and firm. He will lift his holds if he gets votes, not outcomes. Votes. A vote on sanctuary city enforcement. A vote on protecting Congress from surveillance. A vote on letting Americans challenge government abuse in court. If they lose, they lose. But he refuses to let these issues die quietly. And he ends with a warning to both parties. This isn't about Lindsey Graham. This is about whether the Senate still means anything at all. Like, subscribe, comment, and share, because this fight is only getting bigger.